I don't see it. Didn't catch up.
We have to care about agents. Screaming at a drag show, so. Right, I'm like, okay.
The pizza boxes.
Right.
So we.
All right, cool. All right, welcome back. Happy New Year. I'm here with good friend Brett Moreland. Brett is a part of our leadership squad, but he wasn't always a part of our leadership squad. He came in from another brokerage. Obviously, I'll let you take it away from there, but is a great success story in kind of climbing the ranks, like just coming in here, working like an absolute dog, and obviously our staff then recognizing that and being like, yo, this kid's legit. So why don't you walk us through where you're from? Obviously, I know you're not a Florida-born guy. Like, kind of talk us through there. Give us a little history of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I appreciate you having me on, Todd.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Yeah, a little bit about myself. So I was born and raised in a small town in West Virginia, right in the Eastern Panhandle. Been an athlete my whole life. Played baseball. Baseball, really kind of shaped who I am, who I was as a person, and that's actually what brought me down here to Florida. So I played at the collegiate level. I went to a junior college in Frederick, Maryland, played 2 years there. Was very fortunate to be on a pretty awesome team. We actually played in the Collegiate World Series for junior college.
Nice.
Played against a bunch of guys that were and still are in the big leagues.
Yeah,
which
right.
is
Especially out
crazy.
in Grand Junction. Yeah, you'll probably run into that.
It was amazing, So it was truly a blessing, that my career led me there. And then got recruited by a couple of different schools, kind of up and down the coast, and one of them was Flagler. And looked it up first. I was like, Flagler?
Yeah, I was going to say,
where is that?
so unfamiliar to you. Okay.
Yeah, never heard of it. Never, really knew much about St. Augustine. Always kind of knew I wanted to go somewhere either down south or out west.
Right.
Reason
Warm.
being warm. Yeah, exactly. You're from up north too. Nobody likes snow. Like, it's cool at first, right? You're like, oh, this is awesome. And then
I think 3 out of my 4 years in high school, it snowed on opening day every single day.
I mean, I remember high school games, where we had these huge heaters and like
awful.
You felt like you were literally hitting a rock. I remember
awful.
watching. I was catching, because I was a catcher back in high school, and a kid literally shattered his bat. It was so cold and went flying at the pitcher. But anyways, so saw Flagler, came down for an official visit, got offered a really good baseball scholarship, and kind of it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, right.
St. Augustine's a really cool town. There's just so much history. You're right by the beach. The facilities are really impressive. I mean, they've got D1 facilities.
Yeah, and the Peach Belt Conference that they play in is no slouch of a conference. I mean, you're playing like real talent in there.
Right. I mean, it was incredible. Like the kids that we played against, and we played against some really tough competition.
Yeah.
Which was fun, and lots of good memories, and things from the baseball days, of course.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Were you inducted into the Flagler Hall of Fame?
So I was on the All-Decade team.
All-Decade team.
Yep.
That's what it was. I remember it was you received some honor. It was the All-Decade team.
Yep.
Exactly.
All-Decade
That's awesome.
team as an outfielder. And really had a good career. I had an injury right before my senior year that kind of nixed me going to the next level. But honestly, in hindsight vision, it was a blessing.
Right.
Because a lot of people think being a professional athlete, especially in baseball, right, is like this some luxurious, awesome lifestyle, and unless you make it all the way, to the big leagues, it's really not what people think it is.
Yeah.
You're making terrible money. You're riding a school bus.
Yeah.
Traveling and eating bad food.
And I think I just saw that they just ruled, or they did something where they have to start providing housing now, because I know that was a huge concern. Like, some of these dudes started like living out of suitcases. Yeah. And just like half in a hotel 1 week, half out, half in, because they're paying for their own housing. They're like, you're a professional athlete.
Right. And it's crazy.
Some of these dudes are verified on Instagram and like have nowhere to live.
Right. Exactly. So it's crazy, and I was disappointed when it happened, but kind of like looking back, it all worked out for the better, right? Because it led me here, and it led me to stay in St. Augustine and, meet my, beautiful wife and, build the life that I have now that, who knows if I wouldn't have gotten hurt, I probably wouldn't be here. Right. I would have been, playing who knows where, who knows how far I would have made it. But
and at that point, you would have been like, okay, now you're either revisiting this, whether you don't have the hunger, the drive, whatever. I mean, the situation you're in. And what I always kind of look at, especially when it comes to athletes, is chasing opportunity.
Yep.
And that's what I think you chased here. And again, like we did a video, which honestly feels like 10 years ago now, but I think we're maybe a year and a half ago, just about where you came from, your old brokerage you did come from, why you came here, how kind of like marketing your own circle, and how real estate kind of is hard if you're you're alone and you're just not doing anything. To now cut to like just where we're at, which we'll continue to get into. It's mind blowing. It's literally just mind blowing.
And it really is, right? Because I always kind of had a passion for real estate, and going through college, kind of went the sport management route, just like most athletes do. They're like, here, business or sport management, pick one, right? Yeah. And I thought that was something I wanted to do, because obviously I've always had a love for sports, but as I got out of college and really kind of started seeing like what sport management truly is, like honestly, it's not all that people think it is, right? It's not that rewarding. It's like you're working long, crazy hours. You're getting paid a crap salary just to hopefully one day by the age of 50 be able to make it somewhere big as a general manager. And they make a lot of money, but
and for the most part, you're right. You're the athletic director of some high school or some middle school for the most part. And it's like, at what point are like ball clubs like recruiting out of like those programs? I'm like, it's very few and far between. Yeah. So wow. Yeah.
But it was crazy, and I had somebody, at the time that I knew who was a broker here in town, and was like, hey, man, you would be really good at real estate. Have you thought about getting your license? And I'm like, honestly, yeah, I kind of have. Like, I think it would be good. Like, why not? What do I have to lose? So sure enough, I did the course, got my license, and actually went to work for that big box brokerage. They were great, right? And they're still a great fit for right people. But, for me, it wasn't... I didn't have the success that I wanted. I didn't really have the guidance that I was hoping for, because real estate's a tough career, right? And if you either A, don't have a ton of people that right now that are going to buy or sell, or B, also have the support to go with that to understand what you're doing, it's really hard to make it in this industry. And that's why the failure rate is so high, just because there's so many realtors, and there's so many other factors that go into it that people don't understand. That's kind of what led me here. I had somebody that I knew, funny story, I actually coached them in baseball, So right when I got out of college, I coached baseball for a little bit. I coached a travel team, and I actually coached at St. Augustine High School. And fast forward a few years, this particular person, was here. They were, selling. They were doing well. And I'm like, hey, I keep seeing DJ&Lindsey team everywhere, right? Like, they're everywhere. And I'm really, curious. Like, let's meet up for lunch. So, we met up for lunch. Had great things to say. Ended up, sitting down with DJ&Lindsey and Megan, and it just kind of all clicked. And I was like, why did I not do this sooner? Right. You don't know what you don't know, and
and I think that's important. Is you don't know what you don't know, and even someone like you that works as hard as you do, a creature of habit, very structured. You're following a schedule. You are a very detail oriented person. If you had trouble doing it on your own, there's no doubt, you're almost like my test subject of okay, Brett was struggling, or it's just he was kind of at this benchmark. I'm like, there's just no way that person is just gonna be up and if it does happen, talk about being in the right place at the right time, whether you just happen to be in that bar or in that talking to that person and you just struck gold, which almost is kind of like DJ's story, where he just happened to have that great Cordova apartment sale, and he's like, I can either go on a sick trip or I can reinvest in my business. It was just one of those sheer happenstance situations. So that was the biggest eye opener for me, is after I found out a little bit more about you, how you kind of got here, and then seeing the success we have other agents, I'm just could you imagine if this was where you first started out? And you'd be you'd probably be a full 4 more years ahead of where you probably would be.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree. Like I said, hindsight is always 20/20. I think it was definitely a blessing that the opportunity did present itself, to start here. And, I'm so glad that I did, right? It was definitely the best decision that I've made, in my life, because, it's gotten me to where I am today, and just, where we're headed as a company and where I'm headed, personally, is absolutely incredible. There's no other place that these things would even be possible.
Right. So when did you first officially join?
So I first joined, it was right at the end, I think it was 2019. I want to say it was November 1st or something. I think I literally sat down and met with everybody right at the end of October. And they were
wow. So
can you start Monday? And I'm like, sure, let's make it happen.
Wow, so you actually only did I know this? You only beat me here for a few months then.
Yeah, it was right beginning of November, and I think you came January,
The
February?
the end of January.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, I did not. Okay.
Yep.
The 2019-2020 start for the DJ&Lindsey team was like a real fire right there. Wow, I can't believe that I did not realize that you had started, because I was the same way. I was brought in by former teammates, baseball players. Again, obviously, it's almost like a brotherhood.
For sure,
You know, in the sense of like, you know, you always talk to, I mean, people I played with 3 colleges ago, I still talk to all the time. Hey, how you guys doing? You know, this and that, attending weddings. Like somebody actually just texted me for my birthday that I played ball with at Tampa that I talked to, you know, fairly often, but it's just one of those things. So I got brought in the same way, just kind of like, hey, there's an opportunity, and we go back to that chasing opportunity. They lay the opportunity out. It's up to you to fulfill your end of the bargain. And yeah, I mean, so you started in November 2019, let's call it. And then when did you, because now you obviously were a full production agent doing your own thing. Then we kind of like shifted you to director of resale. You were head of our listing division. And then you even took an even larger jump to kind of like that mentor, you know, basically almost broker status at this point. Like you're still handling all that stuff, deal doctoring, things like that. So like, let's like walk through that kind of timeline. Yeah.
So, November 2019, I started, and then really was in production for just about 1 full year. So I would say, I think it was like August, September of 2020, got the promotion to run our listing department.
Right.
And kind of be like the listing mentor and specialize just in
right,
listings. And
our OKR, you and Kelsey were working together on what we were going to do to rank. That's totally right.
Yeah, and it was crazy, right? So I did that for a couple months. You know, it was going great. And then in November, I think it was actually November 1st of 2020, is when I officially got promoted to director of sales, to where, you know, I joined Brittany, and, you know, basically the two of us were, you know, the ones mentoring all the new agents, then agents also new to the company, as well as, you know, mentoring and helping all the agents company-wide, you know, and kind of running things, you know, as boots on the ground here, which was, you know, pretty cool to do all that in a year. You know, and as that kind of took place, I started phasing out of production, just because, you know, it's hard to be able to be available to the agents and help them achieve their goals while we're still out, you know, actively selling and doing things like that. So really, you know, it is a sacrifice, but I will tell you, you know, I absolutely love coming to work every day.
You feel,
you know, because the way I look at it, right? So, you know, as a sports guy, and you can attest, I was very fortunate throughout my career to have so many coaches that were very successful, you know, not only just on the field, but creating good people off the field, right?
Yeah.
And I had so many of those coaches who truly like impacted my life, not only just as like, you know, from a sports standpoint and, you know, and the things that I was able to achieve, but also kind of shape like my morals and values and, you know, the foundation of who I am, right?
Right.
And it's just so cool to be able to give back just in a different manner. Yes, it's not through baseball, but it's almost like an even bigger, more fulfilling way, right?
Right. Because it's the same way a coach, it's like, okay, a coach is great, but at some point you have to hang your cleats up, and it's like, how can you give back, still feel that sense of pride, fulfillment, and carry on, we'll call it a legacy. Yeah. I mean, you're totally right.
Yeah, because it's, you know, getting to help people achieve goals that they didn't even know were possible, right? And it's not just things like sports. Yeah, sure. You know, some people at one point or another are going to hit the end of the road in their sports career. But in your actual career, like, this is something that can last for, you know, generations to come, right? You can build a legacy for generations and generations. That's, you know, it's really cool to be able to help people achieve that they didn't even know was possible. And I think, you know, what makes it so special for me is that it happened to me personally, right? You know, like when I came here, like yes, I was an experienced agent, but it's not like I was setting the world on fire, right? I learned through how we do things and went through it all. So it really helps me be a more effective coach and mentor, knowing like, hey, I've been in your shoes. I know exactly what you're going through and how to get you to where you want to be. And I can tell you, like, the possibilities are absolutely endless. You just got to put in the work and the time to make it possible.
Yeah, and I keep going back to being an athlete, because athletes always deconstruct everything. And it always comes back to, whether you're in a slump or whatever, it always comes back to go back to the basics, to the basics. And if we even look at that from real estate, you are always a absolute dynamite script master, like end to end, and always hammered the phones and just structured your day properly, because everyone gets the same amount of time. It's just a matter of how you use it and how well you use it. And it's something that I'm working on. DJ helps me tremendously, whether it's time blocking, organization, things like that, that really allow you to do more, because it's very easy. I mean, especially now, the world, it's very easy to feel just completely consumed by anything you're doing.
Yeah.
But now to execute something properly and constantly get better at it is harder and harder. I mean, even if we were to go completely off topic and jump into like medicine, there's a specialty for everything now.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
You're not
for
just
sure.
like, I'm a doctor. It's like, I'm a doctor and I only look at this part of the knee. Right.
Yep.
So now you got to think, okay, how is that going to come into real estate? It's like, hey, I'm strictly listings because I know exactly what buyers are looking for. I know exactly what homes, like I'm constantly, we were just talking before about investor specific property. It's like, well, how is something investor specific?
Yep.
Like look at the property.
Yeah.
Where are the comps in the area? What's the structure of the home? What's the layout like? How is it specific to only investors?
Yep.
Why am I going to show this to a newly married couple that has a baby on the way, right?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and if you don't know what you're doing, or you don't have detailed notes, or you're doing anything back to the basics, it's going to be very hard to just be like, oh, all right, I know Jim and Pam, like I'll call them and see if they want this.
Yeah,
It's their
right.
price point. It's like, it looks nothing like what they need.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's going back to the basics, which you mastered very early on. And because our desks, well, my desk moved every other hour, but our desks eventually landed kind of like across from each other.
Yeah.
So I could always hear you on the phone. You're always there. And again, just basics, just doing all the little things constantly, day in and day out, that just compound like crazy.
Yep. And that's what it's all about, right? And that's what kind of led me to my success as an athlete, right? I kind of always, there was a quote that my dad always, kind of spoke into me, and it was, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right?
Right.
And it's so true. Like, there's people that are always going to be very talented, and whatever it is, a sport, a career, talking, whatever it is, right? That are very talented, but it's the people who don't put in the time and don't put in the work that always will get surpassed, right? So there's always an ins to a mean of hard work can outshine, outbeat any day of the week for those people, even if they're more talented. And that's kind of, what I live by every day, right? Sure, somebody might be better than me at something, but I can assure you that they're not going to work harder than me, right? I control what Jordan, I can control.
Derek Jeter, Kobe Bryant, all those guys, insanely talented, but were never outworked in their respective fields, court, whatever you want to call it. They were always the first people there, last people to leave, because they knew exactly that. Like talent might get you there, but there's always somebody better.
Yep.
Always somebody better. I mean, let's just look at Michael and then LeBron James. It's like the number one argument that anyone's going to argue over is that how, and if they played together, I guarantee you that Michael Jordan would be working twice as hard so that he could keep up with Kobe. Even if he was starting to slip and getting older and whatever, I guarantee you he'd work twice, 3 times, 4 times as hard so that the conversation was still never like, oh, he's in the dust. I mean, now obviously we can't ever compare because they don't play at the same time.
Right.
But that's just the type of people that they are, right? So let's even continue with that. Let's go back to the basics. You, every single day, no matter where you see you, dressed head to toe, best dressed. And it's a why, right?
Yeah.
It's a why do you do that? Because you know the importance of it.
Yeah. And the reason I do it, right? I don't do it because I have to. I do it because I want to, right? And a couple different facets of that, right? When you dress up, it makes you feel good about yourself, right? It's almost like your costume. It's almost like your alter ego. And it's funny that you say that because I was actually talking with some of our agents in a training this morning about that, right? Like one of the best abilities you can have as a salesperson is the ability to have that alter ego, right? And, I'm always so like energetic and, outgoing and, so positive. And it's like, I told him, I was like, even outside of work, sometimes I'm not like super like, how's it going? Like all excited, like, but that's my alter ego. And it has to do with the dress too, right? And I always attest it to if you were going to line up with somebody, right? And you're meeting a customer for the first time face to face. You're dressed in a suit, tie, or it doesn't even have to be a suit and a tie. It can be something that looks really nice, right? And they see you, and then they see somebody like maybe in some ripped jeans and a t-shirt or like an old ragged polo. Before they even talk to you, right? Who do you think they're going to trust more right away without even opening their mouth? The other person that's not dressed nice could honestly be way better of a salesperson, have way more experience, but I guarantee you the person that's dressed more professionally is going to be the one that gets the opportunity and the nod. So what better way to go ahead and tackle that head on, have the respect right from the get-go, and then have all the intangibles to go with it, and then it's like, hands down, why would they want to use anybody else? Why would they want to interview with anybody else? Because You show that you care about yourself. You have the knowledge. You have the skills. You have the
You
personality.
took the time to dress yourself and care about your own appearance.
Right.
The first thing anyone's going to think of is, okay, this person looks dressed to the nines, not overdressed like you show up in a tuxedo and you look like a clown. It's like, hey, this person's dressed very respectably. They must know, at the very least, they care.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Versus like, I mean, we have people showing up in shorts and this and that. It's like, I get it. We're in Florida. You know, we're blessed with the fact that we have great weather all the time. But at some point, like, do you want to show up to buy something from somebody that's dressed not properly? It's like,
they're going to have a lot more work to do to convince you that they are a good salesperson and they do have your best interest in mind.
Most of your time, it's going to go to just convincing them that you are who qualified and not like, hey, this is what we're actually going to be doing.
Right. So why create more work for yourself to have to sell you and what you can do when that's something that you can control, right? I'm all about control the controllables, right? There's certain things that we can control and certain things we can't. So why not focus on what we fully have control over and conquer that? Because that can make so many other things, you know, easier for you and put you in a better position for success down the line.
Right, absolutely. And it's funny, so usually we don't like to, I don't know, date these things, but you actually are doing something really, really cool for this office. Well, actually for both offices coming up is, so a lot of your wardrobe is from Suit Supply, which is great because obviously the product is a great product, but it's customized, right? It fits you properly. So you don't wear, okay, hey, this is a great suit, but it was my grandfather's, whatever, and it fits like a bag, right? Yeah. So we have, it's Tuesday, we have Suit Supply coming.
Coming in person. So it's kind of a funny story, right? So I'd been going there for quite a while. The first one I ever went to was actually in Tyson's Corner, which is right outside of DC.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So it's a chain that's based overseas. They've got stores here, obviously in the U.S., but there's like kind of far and few between. So the closest one to us here is in Tampa. I think there's one in Miami too.
But Tampa's
but other than that, there's not a ton of them like close to us. So I have a buddy that lives in St. Petersburg. You know, every time I go to visit him, I always make a stop.
Yeah.
You know, because it's right down there by University of Tampa, right in downtown Tampa, and they honestly have great customer service. So, you know, from going there all the time, you know, buying shirts, buying ties, buying suits, whatnot, I built up a relationship with the store manager. And the last time that I was in there, I actually met one of the higher ups. He just happened to be there. We were kind of talking.
Opportunity.
Rub shoulders, right. And I was trying to pick out a different color suit. And I saw the fabric and I was like, man, I can't tell what this actually looks like. And he was like, here, I've got it with me. So he pulls it out. I'm like, cool, sold. I love it. So we exchanged information and it was funny. So, you know, DJ and I were kind of talking like, dude, it'd be cool to plan something for the office to get, you know, them to come in, because so many people always are like, hey, I would love to, you know, get some stuff from them, but I don't want to go all the way to Tampa.
And a thing is that they measure you. So they build a profile on you so that when you go to buy stuff, you're not like, are these pants, the pants are going to fit. They're literally made to your profile, right? Like it's literally customized. So that's why it's important. You need to visit the store, not just, of course you can go on there, order whatever, but you want to know.
Exactly. So that's why it's cool. They're going to, you know, come bring everything from whether you want to do fully custom or whether you want to do like made to fit. So where they have pieces that they can tailor to you, because they have an in-store tailor. But, you know, honestly, for me, I just like to do the fully custom because, you know, you can pick your fabrics, you can pick your linings, you can pick, you know, if you want it embroidered, whatever you want, you can, there's so many options and it holds up really well. Their customer service is great. You know,
I mean, you literally wear a Suit Supply suit
every single day.
Every single day.
Yep. Every day.
Every single day. And I mean, you're just, I would even call you just like the off-brand brand ambassador because you're in one literally every single day. I've seen the same, honestly, you always come in with new stuff, but you see the same ones over and over again, and never is it like, oh man, it's ripped, or oh man, it's like, it's always looks good, it's holding up, it's great. And to bring that here, and again, just to show our agents, quality comes at a price, that is what it is. But it's investing in yourself, which then is investing in your business. And it's like, if you were going to buy cheap or do this or cut corners here, I mean, we pride ourselves on streamlining any sort of process. We also know that there's a cost in things. So it's not the cheapest stuff. It's just done the best.
Right.
And that's what I think, it's ironic that Suit Supply is kind of similar to that, that we kind of run here. It's like, it's just streamlined so well that they can offer it how they offer it, still give you quality. And then again, having these agents understand, man, this is what a custom suit feels like. This is what a really quality suit feels like. And it's one of the best gifts you can really give yourself because, I mean, obviously, most people here are done growing.
Yeah, right.
So it's not like you're going to invest in a suit. I mean, I remember I went to like a bunch of proms in high school, and I've like been the same size since like freshman year.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, you're probably not going to grow as much as I would love you. Like bought a tuxedo because she's like renting all that. So it's like now at this age, it's like invest in buying a suit, having it fit properly. It can take someone who might not feel confident about their body and just completely change their internal confidence and then carry over into that listing meeting or carry over into that buyer consult.
Absolutely.
Because you feel, just like you said, you feel so much better. You're in that costume, that persona of like, I am $1 million guy, right?
Yep.
That's it. And then to be able to walk in and have that confidence, it's gonna carry over.
For
you're
sure.
You're gonna see it. The clients are gonna see it. The customers are gonna see
absolutely.
it. Versus like you show up, you're in slacks, way too long, shoes aren't done right.
Overdressed.
Right.
Or sorry,
exactly.
just overdressed where it doesn't fit. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, we golfed on DJ's birthday, and JoJo just showed me this photo. I'm gonna say this right before we wrap up. She's like, "Why do I have this screenshot of someone on my phone that looks like you?" And it's me in the bar after we ate, where they gave us the non-alcoholic beers.
Okay.
I'm like, "That's because that is me." And she's like, "What?" She's like, "I don't even know why this is here."
That's funny.
But yeah, obviously, we love you here. You're stupid good at what you do. I mean, you and
Thank
Brittany
you. I
both.
appreciate
You guys, along with DJ&Lindsey and the rest of the other side of this wall and our W2s, is what make the machine run, and allows me and my team to do what we love to do, which is just carry the marketing, do cool things, do stuff like this, and then again, like get stories, from the people who work here and really just express it. Obviously, your wife is here.
Yep.
She crushes it too. It's so nice that we kind of are all included now. It's really
Yeah.
awesome.
It's just an awesome place to work. I mean, it's like I said, it's a breath of fresh air coming into work every day. Like,
Right.
And everybody always says, like, if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And that's truly how I live. Like, I really feel like, I'm not working. I enjoy what I'm doing. Yes, we're always working, we're always busy, but it's a blessing, right? I don't view it as work, and
Right.
I absolutely love, being able to help others.
And I say that it's like, I'd be doing this anyway. So I'd either have a job and then be doing this in my free time,
Right.
or I'm going to find a position where I'm doing this as
Right.
my job.
So it works. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on, chatting with us. Again, we obviously love you, and we're going to have you back on. Let's do like a quarterly thing.
Yeah, let's
because
do it, man.
I want to
I'm
hear
always-
from the
always
horse's
down.
mouth. I want to
Yeah.
hear all the market updates. And again, we're going to revisit Suit Supply. We're going to do something for
Yes.
it. I think that's going to be really cool. That's going to be really
Really sweet.
awesome.
For
All right.
sure.
Maybe they'll sponsor this video. But
Right.
Anyway, follow us everywhere at DJ&Lindsey, and subscribe, because we're always learning about our W2s and our agents that are coming through here. Right. All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Awesome.
a lot,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
See ya.